If you're ever gonna get robbed, you want it to be by this guy. This guy's name is Marcus Hubbard. And a few days ago, he snuck into the shed of a suburban house. He wanted to steal their lawnmower. But before he left, he noticed that the lawn had not been mowed yet. And he decided to do it himself right then and there. He literally snuck into their house, took their lawnmower, mowed their lawn, and at the end, he didn't even take the lawnmower with him. He left it right there. And thanks to the cameras, the police were able to identify him right away. And they did issue an arrest warrant for him. And I got a message to the homeowners of that house. You should be thanking this guy. He friggin' mowed your lawn for you and then didn't even steal it. Please just let him walk or just give him community service because that's essentially what he got arrested for. This lifeguard beat Karen at her own game. This woman was a lifeguard at this public pool and they had a strict policy at this pool. You can't bring outside food or drinks. But of course, Karen doesn't think the rules apply to her because she showed up at this pool with a Starbucks drink in her hand. When the lifeguard told her, you can't bring outside food and drink here, it's the rules, Karen got really angry because apparently she spent $12 on her drink. I mean, that's a huge L in itself. And Karen's other defense, oh, the public pool in the next town over allows outside food and drinks. But the lifeguard again told her, you can't bring food and drinks into this pool. Well, Karen finally snapped and she decided to pour her coffee into the pool, which turns out was a pretty stupid decision because now she had committed a crime that was disturbing the peace, which is a violation of state law. So the lifeguard was now able to call the cops and Karen was arrested and spent the rest of the day in the county jail. Is this guy a hero or is he a terrible monster? This guy's name is Steve Sanderson. He's a guy who's currently serving a life in prison sentence for the 1991 murder of his girlfriend. And in 2015, he just happened to get a new cellmate, a man named Theodore Dyer. Now, this guy was sentenced to prison because he did unspeakable things with a 9-year-old girl. And he was trying to hide that fact from the other prisoners. But being his new cellmate, Steven found out right away what Theodore Dyer was in prison for. And while they were alone in their cell together, this guy was trying to explain his situation, saying he was framed. Steven told him to be quiet, and the next day he would have to find a new cell. Well, the guy kept talking, and Steven had just about enough. So Steven punched him in the face a few times, took off his shoelaces, and then strangled him and ended his life. The court gave him one more life sentence, but it wouldn't have mattered because he already had a life sentence. While in court, Steven said about Theodore Dyer, I didn't judge him. The only judge is God. I just set up the appointment. This is what happens when you make a fake bomb threat. This guy's name is Eldo Kim. He was a student at Harvard University. He had an exam the next day that he hadn't studied for, and he needed an excuse not to take it. So he downloaded the Tor browser, the browser that is used to access the dark web. And he sent a few emails to Harvard administration saying that there were bombs in a few Harvard buildings and that they would be detonated at random times. Of course, upon getting this email, Harvard canceled all its exams. So Eldo got what he wanted. But in this world we live in, if there are bomb threats, usually police gets involved, which is exactly what happened. It turns out that even though Eldo used Tor browser and he couldn't be tracked, he was using it on Harvard's public Wi-Fi. And police could see that there was only one person who used Tor browser in the past few weeks, and that was Eldo Kim. So he got arrested. He was able to avoid jail time, and he was released on a $100,000 bail. And he did get banned from Harvard afterwards. This is why you shouldn't lie to your teachers. This teacher was listening to her students' presentations, which was their homework. And one by one, all the students were going up and giving their presentation. And now it was this kid's turn. We'll just call him Robbie. Now, Robbie hadn't actually prepared a presentation, but he told his teacher that he had already done his presentation in the beginning of class and that she had just forgotten about it and should check her notes. Now, the entire class was like, yo, he's lying, because they knew he didn't present. But the teacher, to their surprise, agreed with Robbie and said, yeah, you're right, you already went, no problem. Robbie walked out thinking he pulled a fast one. The next day, the teacher told Robbie that she had checked her notes like he told her to, and the notes she had written down about Robbie's presentation were actually really bad. Apparently, he had made a lot of spelling mistakes, made a lot of factual errors, and plagiarized. And he was told that he was going to get a 0. And upon hearing this, Robbie fessed up and said he hadn't actually done a presentation and just lied. The teacher obviously knew that he had lied, and she was rather offended and pretty unforgiving because she gave Robbie a 0 and detention. This guy was dead, but he somehow managed to come back to life. This man's name is Nikki, and he's not just any guitarist. He's a guitarist for the band Motley Crue, one of the most successful bands of all time. But he was also a hardcore heroin addict, to the point where he was always doing this drug. And one day, when he was 29, he shot up again. But this time, his heart couldn't take it, and he actually ended up overdosing and died. When the ambulance got there, he had already been dead for more than 2 minutes. But one of the paramedics was a Motley Crue fan. He wasn't about to let Nikki Nikki Sixx die in his ambulance. He took a shot of adrenaline and plunged it right into Nikki's heart, but Nikki didn't wake up. So he took a second shot and plunged that in his heart too. And all of a sudden, Nikki was awake with 2 needles poking out of his chest. Nikki Sixx had literally just come back from the dead. Today, Nikki Sixx is 63 and 20 years sober. Oh, and he found that paramedic who stabbed him in the heart and gave him $1 million. And this event was the inspiration for their popular song, Kickstart My Heart. These 2 parents sued their son because he didn't give them any grandchildren. Yeah, you heard that right. These 2 parents in India have a son who's a pilot and is almost 30. And apparently he doesn't have any kids, probably because he's flying all the time and is busy. But his parents sued him for mental harassment for $950,000 because that's the estimate of how much it costs to raise their son. Because for some reason they feel that they're entitled to have a grandkid, no matter how difficult it might be for their son to have a kid of his own. The mother even went on record and stated that when she sees kids playing on the street, it breaks her heart. The father said that they paid for his pilot school and did everything with the hopes that one day he's gonna give them at least 1 grandchild. If the only reason you do things for your kid is with hope that one day he's gonna give you a grandchild, you shouldn't have kids. Honestly, I think this guy should just countersue his parents for being ugly pieces of garbage and trying to ruin their son's life for their own selfish interests. Remember, at the casino, the house always wins. This woman was gambling in a casino in Arizona when suddenly she hit it big and won the jackpot. She was celebrating, going crazy. Everyone in the casino was going crazy for her, and it was looking to be a great day until the security guards told her to follow them so she could claim her money. And while they were going through the process, they asked to see her passport to verify her ID, at which point she told them she doesn't have a passport. And the guards did a little more digging and realized that she was in the country illegally, so they had no reason to actually give her the money. They kept the money, had her arrested, and then deported the very next day. There are 2 morals to the story. 1, have your ID ready in a casino whenever it's asked for. And 2, if you're an illegal immigrant, don't go to a friggin' casino. This guy ruined 7 lives for clouts. This guy's name is Noah Gal. This guy was a popular TikToker and Instagrammer, and the videos he would make is he would get in his BMW and then film himself driving at really high speeds. And then he would ask his audience to guess how fast he was going in the comments. And a few months ago, when Noah was 17, he was driving as fast as 182 miles per hour. And all of a sudden, he hit a Nissan Rogue that was parked in front of him from behind. The impact from Noah's BMW was so strong that the back of the Nissan essentially got crushed into the front. And these are 2 of the victims. A total of 6 people were in that Nissan Rogue, and they all lost their lives. And Noah got arrested, of course, and he's looking at 6 counts of vehicular homicide, which could very well add up to be a life sentence. If dentists scare you, then you really shouldn't watch the rest of this video. This girl is 3-year-old Finley Boyle. She had a problem with her teeth and she needed a baby root canal to fix it. So her parents took her to a respected dentist by the name of Lily Gayer. The thing about root canals is that they are generally really painful, and you have to sedate the patient and give them anesthesia before doing it, which is what the dentist did to Finley. But unfortunately, during the procedure, Finley went into cardiac arrest and passed away. Lily Gayer was charged with manslaughter. During the investigation, it was revealed that Finley was diagnosed with an upper respiratory infection just 1 month prior to her root canal procedure, something her parents never mentioned to the dentist. The sedatives mixed with the infection is what caused her to go into cardiac arrest. And Lily Gayer even said that if she had known about the infection, she never would have given Finley Boyle the sedatives. This trial took about 5 years, and at the end, Lily Gayer was found not guilty on all charges. She's also no longer a practicing dentist.